So the reason I marked the attempt to assist Garrett T as street theater is because when I went through the phone I told Angola to take a picture of the ambulance at the church or, take a video because we spent a lot of time there with him trying to help him. I went through the phone and the video is not there. The picture is not there, which makes me think they're trying to set me up and say, hey, she's crazy. She's suicidal. She called us to pick her up because, when you're dealing with corrupt people, if you don't have a picture of it, even when you do have a picture of it, still they could do their little corrupt things with records, recording that you called and trying to make it be a situation you had. There is no evidence that we spent that time with them. Now, the people at the church saw us there calling and sitting with the guy, but there is no ironclad evidence like pictures. So my family is still trying to steal everything I have, and they're a ruthless bunch. So I'm documenting this, and it happened on the side part of the church across from Davis Automotive. And I guess that was about 4 o'clock, 4:20 by the time we wrapped up, and they put him on the gurney and put him in the ambulance. I'm sure the church has cameras. There's a daycare center next to that Davis Automotive place, which is right on the corner of 34th and Columbus. And I'm assuming that there is a record of my voice calling 911. So yeah, I'm sure they'll have fun with it, but everything that is mine by divine right is returning back to me peacefully, prosperously, and protected. So that happened yesterday, Saturday, after church, September 21st of 2024 at 3304 East Columbus Drive, Amazing Love Ministries. And let's see, right now it's 4:41 a.m. Sunday, September 22nd, 2024. Sometimes when things are happening, I get this weird feeling like, okay, this is not real. Don't play into it. And, when I go beyond that feeling, it's like, see, you got duped, you got used, you were not paying attention, you were not being shrewd, and you're creating false evidence for them to use against you. Most of the time that happens if I have good intentions and I'm trying to do good. God will extend grace and mercy to me, and there won't be their ability to use it inappropriately will be knocked down. It will be casted away, and there will be no power given to that particular incident. Pretty much everything in this realm is about intention and energy. If you are intending to do something good, even if you're disobedient, many times God will give you a pass. So I did not want to just leave the man there if he wanted to get help. And it's like, okay, well, after I left and got home and got my belly full of, some of the yummy things that I wanted, because I spent laundry money on food at the grocery store, and weird things were happening. A guy who was dressed up kind of like he had just left a meeting. He felt familiar. I think this is the same guy that I met at what do you call that place? Domino's one night across from the Floor, LRO hotel, that beautiful hotel that I put on my YouTube page. That had to be around December, maybe right before Christmas or right after Christmas. And a guy named Jake bought me 2 pizzas for the girls. I got Abby a sausage pizza, and Gola got a pepperoni pizza because I didn't want pizza. We were struggling trying to find food for dinner, and I had asked this guy who came in. He got out of a G-Wagon, came in, gave them like a tip or something beforehand, and they said something about the boss is here. And I asked him if he would buy us dinner for tomorrow, and he really haggled and gave me a hard time. And I was like, I walked outside and saw the G-Wagon and thought, wow, see, I told my daughters, people who have money, they are not benevolent. They're rarely benevolent. So I said, this is your G-Wagon. And I wanted to say, wow, you're haggling with me over, gifting me $10 or $15, and this is you. Oh, well, you have to make yourself useful. And I said, oh, so if I would have said, hi, can I clean your rims in exchange for a little cash for dinner tomorrow? Yes, you have to, be willing to give something to get something. I said, oh, okay, well, thank you for the information. We took our 2 pizzas and we scattered on back to the bus because this was like about 10 at night. And I wanted to make sure not to miss the last bus. We're not usually out that late. But that was also curriculum development for Abby and I, because we started talking about how are these businesses able to survive. So I said, look up here. How many rooms do you think is in this floor? How many floors? And it was maybe, this hotel has about 14 floors. And I said, how many rooms do you think are on every floor? So we were just guesstimating, and I said, now they told me when we went in there, they told me $200 a night, and that's just for a standard room. So they have some posh rooms that cost more, maybe a residential suite or that type of room. And so we started talking about how much money they might be making a day, how much money we thought they might be charged for being right on that corner lot for that hotel. And, our minds just can't really fathom yet how this all happens. We want to be business owners, but because I don't like going into things and failing, I do a lot of research before making commitments, trying to figure out, well, if people are not renting the rooms, how do we stay afloat? How do we continue to keep our business in the black without falling short? And I am certain in the tax codes, they have ways that this is occurring, because these businesses are not closing down. Hotels are not closing down that I know of. Not even the little, what do you call those little rinky-dink things? Motels. The $85 a night. You can't check in until 4 o'clock, but you got to be out by 11. So you're not even getting a whole day. It's $85, $5 for the key deposit, and I don't see how anybody affords it. And so we are, a part of our curriculum is to help young women create businesses that last. And so in order to develop something that lasts, you have to know how it works. And I'm looking for an accountant that will partner with me to help me understand how this all goes down. So back to my original point about the man in Save-A-Lot. I set grocery down because, I'm looking at the prices of things and I'm like, damn, $20 only get you about 4 items. And so I'm trying to figure out, well, what can we buy, to make a meal? And, I really want something that I can cook, that I know is going to, be received in my belly safely, peacefully. We eat a lot at churches, and I'm always like praying so hard, like, God, please. And I think the era of people putting major poison in the food is over, because I've talked so much about it on YouTube. That doesn't mean that they haven't, like lessened the dosage. And so just putting a little bit in there every time, and then it builds up in your system, and eventually, boom, your kidney shut down or something like that. So I'm always purging my system after I eat at the church, because you just never know. Now, I want to be able to cook my own food. So Thursday night, I was in the church, and Pastor Will did such a great job delivering the message. I was in there crying, and I was like, I couldn't stop the tears from falling, and I cried again today. And it's just like, God, you're not going to release my money to me? When am I going to get some of my money? I mean, I have so many pockets of money that are out and floating, and people are stealing and, cashing the checks and having a good time. And the consequences are coming in behind that, too. So it's like so many corrupt people. Wow. They hide behind the banner of Christianity, and God is going to really put a whooping on y'all ass for that, because you've turned a lot of people away. And because you have done that, your retribution is going to be really, really great. So that night, the guy in the G-Wagon, I didn't like his energy at all, but I appreciated him giving me the advice. I thanked him, and we skedaddled along. I don't generally deal with business people because my mind is ministry. God has convinced me that if you help people, and if you help them with no notion of them giving you your blessing back, God serendipitously opens the windows and doors of heaven and gives you ridiculous rewards that you just, you weren't expecting. And it's like, wow, this is pretty awesome. So that's the way I try to live my life now. Just help, and God will reward you in your time of need, whether it's with favor, material wealth, material items, money. He controls it all. He controls the king's heart as well. And so I'm looking at this guy in Save a Lot, and he looks out of place. Most of the time, Save a Lot people are like struggling, and we're like in here because we got 2 pennies to rub together. So the eggs were like $4. So I was like, nope. Sugar was like $4. I was like, nope. And these are my little comforts. If I buy sugar, then I'm going to go and get some coffee. And I said no to the things that I really wanted. So I said, okay, I have been asking God to please put me to sleep. I haven't even been able to afford to buy ZQuil. ZQuil is something that God told me to use when I was seeking to become a, what do you call those things? Weightlifter, professional weightlifter. So I was going to go to the gym at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. And because my muscles usually are aching, take me some pain pills, soak in some Epsom salt, and take ZQuil and go to bed. Because that way, when I get those cravings to want chips and to want to snack on things, I will force myself to go to sleep, and then that won't mess up the balance of, you just did all of that exercise and you sat up here and ate a whole bag of Lay's potato chips, because no one can eat just one. No one. Okay. So I haven't been able to afford the ZQuil. So I said, God, you know what? If you control it all, put your finger on my eyes and just go bloop, send me to sleep. And that's what God's been doing. So this guy, as I'm finding items that I can actually put together, ramen noodles is nothing but what? A little bit of oil, some flour, some water. Maybe they put an egg in it. So the ramen noodles was like 5 packs for $1.99. So I added that. I added some pork fat because, I have to keep pork fat in the dog's belly. And Angola loves bacon. So it wasn't even bacon. It was little pieces of like fat pork meat with maybe a little lean on it. And she likes fat, and she's the slender child. So a little bit of fat for her is not really a problem. It's not enough to clog arteries. We don't do it that often, but at least once a week I like to put some pork fat into the dog's belly to stave off worms, parasites, and parvo. And he saw me sitting my grocery there, and I walked away from it. So he knocked the container of meat down. He said, "Is this yours?" I said, "Yes." So I picked it up and leaned it back up and went back to shop some more. So I asked the cashier, "Where is the ramen noodles?" And I wanted onions. Whenever I have any kind of phlegm in my body, I am going to cut up 4 or 5 onions and eat a plate full of caramelized onions. I'm gonna cook them down slow with some butter, and eat them because of all of the wonderful properties: antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, and it strips the mucus. Okay, so I got me a bag of onions for like $1.99. And I wanted to feel guilty because the person who gave me the $20, I told him I was going to wash the 100 pounds of dirty clothes that we have here. That's the reason I had on the long sleeve shirt, because I didn't have any clean clothes. And we had just gotten those clothes from another church. And I was saying, yeah, we just, keep piling these dirty clothes up until the financial situation changes. And they said, "Okay, here you go. Spend this on laundry." I said, "Okay, I will." I would have done that, but we spent so much time with that guy that turned my ability to get to the laundromat. You get like a 50% discount if you wash your clothes before 5 o'clock. Well, by the time we got finished with him, it was around 4. And I wasn't going to be able to make it to the laundromat by 5 to get the deal. So I said, okay, laundry's off for today. But I was hungry for things that I wanted. The church provides you with food, and we're thankful for the food. But sometimes you have cravings and food rituals that you want to keep up for yourself. Like me wanting to eat my root vegetables to strip the mucus before, the cold weather hits. I like to start fortifying my body with my garlic, with my onions, with turmeric root, with ginger. Eat this stuff every day and let it build up in me. The peppers with the capsaicin. And if I can find pineapples year round, I like to have the bromelain in my body. Even if the pineapple is not sweet, I will force myself to eat the meat. Same difference with the papaya seeds. I force myself to chew and swallow the papaya seeds first, and then the flesh, if I'm lucky enough to get a sweet red papaya. And the places I go, they're always going to be good because they specialize in having good produce for their people. And so I just know to go there, so I benefit as well. This man, he was in front, he was behind a Spanish lady, and she was having problems paying for her bills. So another cashier opened up and took the guy with the clothes that kind of looked like he was, business oriented. So I guess that girl decided that he needed to be whisked out of the store, and she opened up another register and moved over. So he moved over there. I stayed behind the Spanish lady that was having problems paying her bill or whatever. So they re-rang her up. They rang me up, and she didn't give me my receipt. They play this little game where they keep my original receipts, and I guess they're turning those original receipts into the trust and then getting a refund, pretending like, they're taking care of us. So then that made me think, okay, so who is this connected to? He looks like that guy, excuse me, from the pizza shop back in December. And that guy that got out of the G-Wagon, I connected him in my mind to James Johnson, and I wondered if he was with that, what's the name of those people that he used to work for? Mr. Autoglass. I had nothing to confirm any of that. That just was all happening in my mind's eye. And I said, that's the same guy. And then this morning when I opened the window and started praying, I kept hearing outside, hello, 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 but nobody ever presented themselves. So I said, oh, so the attorneys are supposed to be trying to get me the paperwork so I can get my money. And the people that are trying to get me to come back around to their house and, deal with them again are trying to basically starve me out. Like, okay, if this bitch go another week or another month without good food or being able to wash her ass or being able to function properly, to pay her phone bill, to, buy clothes for the change of the season, to buy blankets, she'll come back over here and ask for our help. And so they just keep thinking, one more day, one more week, we're breaking her down. And so they're pretending like they're trying to find me, but they're not really trying to find me. They're being in my presence, maybe even taking pictures, maybe even buying an item so that they have a receipt. But they never walk up to me and say, hey, are you da 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 da? I'm the attorney for, and I am here to give you your, whatever. They're not doing that because they're not trying to find me. They're not trying to connect to me. A guy sat in church next to me. He felt like he was connected to Donnie Dwayne Flowers, a black man, glasses, a cane, but he felt weird. The energy felt weird. I stayed there for a couple of minutes. I said, okay, I'm not going to fight it. I got up and moved. And that's just the way it is. But God is great and God is ultimately in control. So he is going to make sure that things work out the way they're supposed to work out. And I'm going to continue to flush my body, even if I have to cry. And I'm going to do the research so that when we get this money, they cannot steal it from us. Yeah. Amen and hotel.